Hey, what's up guys? I'm Michael of Say Yes to Yum, where I'm all about delicious low-carb cooking so you can say no to the carbs but still say yes to yum. Now today I've got a recipe that I'm so pumped to be able to share. It includes this, which is a rice-shaped konjac, and it's basically a rice substitute, but it's not cauliflower. I mean, I love cauliflower. It is amazing. It has done great things in terms of providing versatility, but sometimes you just don't want to have to use cauliflower for everything. And so that's where this comes in. And they actually have this brand, it's like better than rice, and they've got better than pasta, better than noodles. So they've got a bunch of different varieties, and it's all this konjac slash shiritaki, I think they're equivalents, base, which is a root vegetable. And basically it's, you know, macro-wise, 0 carbs and 5 grams of fiber. 0.3 grams of protein, and there's 0 fat in it, so not a lot of calories either. For a third of the package it's only 10 calories, so we gotta beef it up with flavor, and it takes on a lot of flavor. And so with this rice, I've made a risotto that honestly, the texture is so close to the regular risotto. And the thing about this is that, you know, the rice grains are small, so you can't tell as much that the texture is not exactly real rice. Whereas with some of these pasta substitutes, when you're tasting them, you know, it still does a great job of substituting, but you can tell it's not pasta. With this, I really almost can't tell at all. So I am super pumped, and I feel like that's enough talking. Let's get cooking. One quick little PSA that I forgot to mention before we get cooking is that this stinks. Just a little bit at the beginning, okay? Hear me out. They have a warning. Well, not a warning, but just a caution, I guess. You may notice a faint aroma when you open the pack. This is easily washed away when you rinse the konjac. Yeah, it does. It smells like fish. It really is a little bit stinky. My husband, who's allergic to fish, will not go near it, and he was afraid to eat it for a little while, actually. Anyways, you just gotta rinse it really, really well for a few minutes, and then it's fine, doesn't stink anymore. But that's just the one thing you're gonna wanna know before you open the pack, because you will be shocked otherwise. Okay. For this recipe, you'll need 1 package of konjac or shirataki rice, 1 cup of chicken broth, 3/4 cups of heavy cream, 2 leeks, a half a pound of mushrooms. I use pre-sliced cremini because lazy, whatever. 1/4 pound of pancetta, 2 cloves of garlic, a 1/4 cup of Parmesan, 1 shallot, 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, about a 1/4 cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. To begin, we'll prep the ingredients. Start by cutting the leeks in half and thoroughly wash them by rinsing the water away from the root. Then finely chop them up. You'll really only want to use the white and light green part, and you can save the rest for making homemade stock later if you like. Next, finely chop your 2 cloves of garlic, and do the same for a shallot as well. Then you'll want to chop up your pancetta into a nice diced cube. And the last thing for your prep is grating the Parmigiano Reggiano. Ooh, baby. Then get a large pot on medium heat, add your olive oil and then your pancetta, and begin rendering out the fat. After a few minutes, add the leeks and let them sweat out together. And once they've cooked down quite a little bit, you can add the mushrooms and follow the same approach. I added a tablespoon of butter at this stage because I didn't feel like there was enough fat to give the mushrooms enough lovin', so I added some more. And after a couple minutes, I then seasoned it with salt and pepper. I probably could have waited a little bit longer to get the mushrooms a bit more caramelized, but I figured at this point it didn't even matter. So while that continues to cook down, prepare the konjac rice according to the directions. Strain and rinse thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, in cold water. I rinsed this for several minutes to get rid of that funky smell. Then add half a tablespoon of butter and add your garlic to the pan. This is the last thing for the filling, and let that cook for a couple of minutes and remove from the heat. Oh, look at, there's my setup. Empty it out and add some olive oil and butter to the pan. I do this because that's what Ina Garden tells me to do, so I did it. And then add your shallots and let those sweat out for a few minutes. Once that's done, add your rice and combine. So then you can add your 1/4 cup of white wine and let the alcohol cook out for a couple of minutes and let the flavor infuse into those rice noodles. I keep calling them noodles. It's rice. Well, it's Konjac. Anyways, at that stage you can add the chicken broth and stir it all well to combine and throw the lid on it for about 15 minutes or so. And once you open it, wow, magic. Now after that point, it should be well cooked through, and now it's time to really let that broth reduce. So you can add all of your mixing back in, that beautiful mushroom leek pancetta combination, and then you are going to let that liquid absorb for a little while. Once it's done that, you can add your 3/4 cup of heavy cream, and then the Parmesan cheese. So unlike a traditional risotto where you don't actually add cream because there's still so much starchiness in the rice itself, we don't really have that starch in this case, and so that's why we add the cream to get that same lovely texture as a real risotto. So then after you've done that, combined it well with the parm and the cream, you can add a little more butter to bring it together and check for seasoning. I added more salt, more pepper, and more parm here. And so as that combines, you can see that texture really start to come together. It's getting creamy. You know that's gonna be delicious. Oh, baby. At this point, I pulled it off the heat and let it sit for just a couple of minutes, and it thickened up even more, and topped it with more parm and parsley. And then I dug right in. Look at that creamy, dreamy deliciousness. It was so beyond good. And don't forget, all the macros and ingredients are in the description below. If you like this video, give me a subscribe and check me out on TikTok and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one.